you have any tradable cards that are meta worth anything in your club right now? Maybe it's for Weekend League, which is coming up quickly in your squad. Maybe you've made investments as the market has been rising. Well, I'm here to tell you it might be time to sell. If you're looking for cheap and safe EAFC 24 coins, look no further than u4gm.com and use my code ELYT, ELYYT, for a limited time 10% off at checkout. EA, I want to know what was the update for, because all I saw on the pitch notes was that it was menu stability, not getting kicked out, and fixing these menu glitches. And I'm still getting the same one. Now, we've been complaining about every 20 minutes, and now I have to dashboard. What was the update for? Did you guys even test it? It doesn't work. Fix it. It's still not working.
3 hours later.
EA, I do want to apologize for my outburst about the menus earlier. It's not that big of a deal. You know what? Getting kicked out and having to dashboard every 20 minutes, you know what? Not that big of a deal when it comes down to it. But if you could please just let me back on the servers now, because I'm trying to record a video. I've been out for 6 hours. It's 4 a.m. I gotta record this. So, you know what? Don't worry about the menus, but the servers, I mean, that's where I draw the line. Let's go, boys! We are back on the servers, back on the market, and back to selling investments, which is what we're talking about today. Is it time to sell your cards? Now, I sold my Lampteys. We made a couple 100,000 coins on those, made a little bit of coinage on some flips right here, but overall, we're looking at a market that is starting to hit its peak, as we are going to have a ridiculous amount of supply coming this weekend. And we're going to go through all of that. But as I promised you guys in the last episode, episode 10, I'm going to bring you guys a big pack at the beginning of every single episode, as long as it's possible. So I grinded out Assist Mastery to get us a 55k pack. I'll tell you what, man, our pack luck, it couldn't be worse. I have the worst pack luck on YouTube. I have the worst pack luck maybe in the history of pack luck. I haven't gotten anything in any of these packs. The amount of 100Ks I've opened and gotten nothing is ridiculous. And one upgrade we made on the Trading to Glory starting 11 is going to be Dan Juma at left center forward. We wanted to go with Darwin Nunez, but we still haven't packed him, so we went with Dan Juma instead, and that keeps a little bit of a theme alive. I wanted to try to keep the Liverpool player thing going. I'm not a Liverpool fan, but it just kind of worked out that way. But he does get that Dutch link to Gravenberch. And then we also have Lone FC on the ready, on standby, ready for Weekend League this weekend, assuming I qualify. We might have to pull him out in the playoffs if I start struggling. But this is going to be an absolutely brutal first 11 games for some people. Hopefully, we can pull out some dubs. And so somebody commented yesterday to absolutely lower our expectations. And what I'm expecting out of this, guys, is 183 rated. That's going to be the highest card, 83 rated card, and that's our expectation. So if we set our expectations low, then we can't be disappointed. Like, we can't. 83 rated is what we're getting. That's all we're getting, 83. Don't get our hopes up. Don't get our hopes up. That should be 84, and it's Rabiot. And he is, he's a duplicate. So, oh, we got Darwin Nunez. No, not now. Not now. Darwin Nunez in the pack right after I started my evolutions. Okay. All right. I see you, EA. You're funny. I'll give you that. You got a sense of humor. You're just toying with me. I'm getting sick and tired of it. Damn you, EA! Ah! Okay. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I almost lost my cool there. But let's get into the part of the video that you guys actually clicked on it for, which was the investments update and the market, the coin making part of the video. You might ask me, Elite, why would cards drop if Weekend League's this weekend? Isn't that going to bring a ton of demand? And it is going to bring some demand, but it's fighting against 5 different factors of supply as well. On Thursday, it's going to be the first snowball of a blizzard. Marquee matchups is going to bring supply in tradable packs. Then you're going to see number 2, which is the people who have still held their investments are going to start selling those off because it's kind of the last chance. And so those people are going to start undercutting each other a little bit. Then you're going to see factor number 3, which is the new promo team on Friday. Road to the Knockouts Team 2 is what we're expecting. That's going to bring new promo packs. It's going to bring possibly a daily SBC, and that's going to bring supply as well. Number 4 is going to be the fact that once people finish their games, and some will finish Friday, the rest will finish Saturday or Sunday, they're going to get some tradable packs in return, and that's going to bring supply to the market. And then number 5, once they finish their games as well, a lot of those people will sell the cards they used during Weekend League. Once they've done their Weekend League games, they might really not need them for a couple of days until they need to qualify again, so they're fine with selling off those cards or maybe going out and trying out some new ones. So this is what's going to happen to the meta market based on what happened last year. The best predictor of the future is going to be looking at the past. So I'm going to show you guys these graphs real quick, and you can see Ousmane Dembele rose. That's what we saw in EAFC 24 as well. We saw a big rise as people got buying power. Then we saw a market crash last week, right? Kind of saw that last year. And then we saw him rise again. Now, the first initial rise was actually higher this year, so that's the big difference. But you can see he had a peak on Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then started to drop as the weekend began. You saw marquee matchup supply, you saw a new promo, which I believe was either ones to watch or whatever came right after. And then you saw the weekend league supply. And then as we got into the next week, he just kind of continued dropping in price. So 107 was his peak, and he dropped about 20% just by Saturday. Then you look at Marcos Llorente, a similar trend, just to show that it's not like Dembele was just, an outlier. I will show you an outlier in a second. We saw the initial rise. We saw a little bit of a crash. Then he rose, and the peak was on Tuesday, Wednesday, before he dropped into the weekend. Small little recovery by Sunday, but not enough to be where it was more expensive than it was on Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at N'Golo Kante, a little higher rated. Saw that initial rise. And then as we got closer to that first weekend league, Wednesday, he hit his peak, 188,000. Actually, his peak was on Tuesday, 191. Dropped into the weekend and then continued dropping into the next week. Yaya Toure, a special card, a hero, rose. He was actually extinct that day, and then they updated his price range, and his card was 1.9 million coins on the Wednesday. Then by the weekend and end of the weekend, he was 1.2 million. Do you want to be that guy who is going to use him in this weekend league for 1.9 million coins, accepting the fact that he's going to be 1.2 million in a couple of weeks? You don't want to be that guy. Now, Erling Haaland was a little bit of an outlier last year because of the meta. The meta last year was lengthy. This year, it might be a certain playstyle. Whipped cross, finesse plus, power shot plus, whatever it might be, and whatever the pros are using and everybody finds out is super OP, those cards could be a little bit safer. Now, Erling Haaland had his rise, but he didn't crash like the others did. He still peaked on the Wednesday before Weekend League, though. That was the most he ever was. But he actually held his value throughout the weekend a little bit stronger than the others. But you can still see a significant drop. 402K all the way down to 358 by Saturday. I don't think that it's worth holding on to these cards, even if you're a good Weekend League player. I would go ahead and try to even buy and sell on the same day just so you're not losing a ton of coins. But I would buy, or I would sell today, get your coins, and then this weekend, if you want to buy back for a day to get your games in, you can do that, and you're going to lose a lot less coins that way. Now let's talk about what's going to make us coins. What's going to go up? Where do we want to put our coins to make us some profit? And you're looking at it right over there. It's Road to the Knockout cards, guys. As Road to the Knockout cards do actually rise after they go out of packs here on Thursday, Friday. Now, for me, I think this year they're going to be a little bit slower than they were last year because the promo came 1 week earlier this year. And that means we're waiting longer for group stage match number 3 for us to actually get things going. As we talked about in the last video, in episode number 10 of Trading to Glory, make sure you're watching it on the daily and dropping a like and dropping a sub. But we're seeing a longer wait for the next game. So they might not rise as steeply. But if we take a look at some of these cards from last year, like Fodder, you can see he dropped all week, which is kind of what we're seeing as well with these Road to the Knockouts this year. They hit a low point on that Friday. Then they go up quite significantly and pretty consistently over the next month or so. And so for this card, he went from 274, rose very much in the next 2 days, all the way from 274 to 340, and got all the way up to almost 400K by the end of the month when their next matches were played. Then you look at Federico Valverde, same thing, hits his low point on that Friday, rises a ton in the next 2 days, and gets all the way up, wow, from 500K to 800,000 coins by the end of the month. They rise and rise and rise up until they play their next game. You don't want to wait until they play that next game. Even if they win, normally they drop. Then Lionel Messi, kind of a similar scenario, hit his bottom on Friday, rose, actually continued to rise past their next game. Started dropping a little bit in November, but actually held his value very, very well. Started at $1 million, went to 1.6 million. That's quite a bit of profit, even for having to hold for a few weeks. Then we can look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who is actually part of the mini release, which is not something it looks like EA are doing this year, but he hit his bottom on Friday as well, 75K. Then by the end of October, he had almost doubled in price, but over the next couple of days, which is mainly what we're looking at, went from 75 all the way up to 90, which is the profit that we're probably going to be looking to make, is that little rise there of about 15-20%. Hopefully we can make on those road to the knockout cards by making investments on those this week. So let's go and pull up that squad. And we're looking at certain cards like Bruno, who is already taking a huge crash and probably will go lower in the next 2 days. It's a card that really could rebound because their next 2 games are against Copenhagen. And I think that as we get closer to that match, they rise in price. So long-term hold, great. And even short-term hold, you should be able to look for a little bit of a rebound and that rise as he exits packs on Friday. Osimhen, probably a solid card. Saka, I think, is one of my favorites if he's in your budget. And then you look at some of the lower budget guys like Kalulu, probably a good shout. He is in the group of death, though. So let's see what Milan does today in their UCL game. Maybe that'll help us determine how likely are they actually move on from the group of death. Openda with RB Leipzig, a nice little medium budget card. And then you got some low budget cards like Weifer and Machado. Machado and Lens actually picking up a huge win against Arsenal gives them a much higher odds of moving on, and they got one of their wins so far. So that card is most likely going to be at least 85 rated, if not 86 as well. And I think that card going to 86 rated alone, by the time it does get that upgrade, would actually be higher in SBC fodder, but we don't want to invest in SBC fodder. I think it genuinely could be a decent left back for the French league. And if there's any Colombian links that come out in SBCs in the future, that's going to be one of the cards that people look at, similar to how people looked at Lamptey for the Kudus SBC. That's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I'm going to go ahead and drop a heart on every single comment today. So maybe go ahead and let me know what you think of the Trade in Glory series so far. Thanks for watching episode number 11. Like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.